Pimp Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned.
Box Production.
It was point blank, through no subliminal dissing. When I listen, I could tell you never been on no mission. Sticking to the script, don't care if I offend you. Neighborhood crib, the marathon
I overlook my competition, never seeing them. I done trained my mind that I'm going. You could tell by how I walk, talk, I'm a boss. A east side millionaire, homie, what you thought? My life is a movie. They can't get close to me. They mad cause they can't be. I'm everything that they wanna be, yeah.
So at one point in my life, I told you I was raised in a very religious environment, even private school, and based upon the fact that we all know I'm a natural orator and I've been blessed with a skill of communication and public speaking, you can imagine that those that were raising me and involved in my rearing just naturally said preacher.
Yeah,
and
nah, real talk.
I attempted to fit into that actual box as well. So I've even actually, being baby spotter from the set, gone to prison, come home, got baptized, and come to the hood in a suit and took the homies to invite them out, and then went back to being baby spotter and all that. So like, ain't no secret. Like I've actually spoken to like congregations for like between 7th and 10th grade. I attended a school in Torrance. It was a white school, private school. Very few black students, and the principal was a white woman who I developed a relationship that extended beyond my time at her school. And when I came home at that particular time and began to attempt to preach, she was arranging dates for me to preach in her constituency.
Damn.
So I would be like up in Rolling Hills at one of them churches that blow your mind. There'd be no blacks in the church, except my family. And I get up, deliver a message, and I swear to God, after the message, I've had Asian ladies come up afterward, and I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just going to mimic the way it sound to just give you an idea of how the conversation went. She's like, I would not come today. I was going to come. No, not come today. I stay home, but something tell me come, and I come because you. So the way her English was so broken, I'm wondering, what was it that I said that caused her to feel so connected to the message?
Yeah.
So for a long time, I've tried to force myself into this traditional concept of God's spokesman.
Yeah.
And then when I turned my back on the actual traditional platform, I had a sense that I inherited that I turned my back on God, the concept of God. And, so it's been a journey. And then, like you said, what you've experienced, the current impact, I've found the opportunity to be able to just be honest and speak to the public once again about whatever the issue may be. And so I appreciate that. I believe all roads lead to Nineveh. And if anybody's familiar with the story of Jonah, he kind of went zigzag and ended up at a certain point. So I believe that in the sense that Moses was raised amongst the Egyptians for the purpose to eventually come back and say, let my people go. I believe I was raised in that scenario in order to have an understanding, in order to lead people away from the chains that organized religion has placed on us. But I've been conflicted with that for a long time, wondering how could it be that I'm turning my back on everything I was raised and believed in? I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And throughout my experience of really trying to be honest and searching and not wanting to be finding an excuse for what people would call backsliding, I found the story of Moses. And I've been knowing the story, but I saw that even Moses was raised in a religious sect.
Exactly.
To be amongst that's the way it was ordained.
Exactly.
So that not only was he raised that way, I believe. You see my story, my brother doing life, his son doing 20 years. My father's household, perhaps that's what would have provided for me. I think the same way Moses was put into the basket and was sent into Egypt to be raised among the Egyptians.
Yeah.
I was put in the basket and sent into that environment to be raised amongst them, not to be ultimately established as one, but to be familiar enough with what they're going through enough to help free some of our loved ones.
Man, that's deep. And I know just people, because I checked out a lot of your podcasts just on some fan and being inspired by you shit. That's the first time I've heard this story right here.
Let me tell you something. I want to appreciate the fact that people declare that I do have a podcast, because I've never said that myself. I never ventured out to desire to have a podcast. I realize what I have established and developed, is reminiscent of a podcast. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, all that shit happened. It started just for me. Music was the thing, trying to have been on a hiatus for about 7 years, mm-hmm. and just talking to some of my closest partners, that knew about what's going on. They man, you got to go live, man. People just want to see your everyday life and whoop, wop, wop. At the time, I was heavily involved in coaching my young boys, so I was at the park, and I used to use that opportunity to go live because I didn't really want the focus to be directly on me talking, so I would just be going live. It'd be max 20 people, average between 7 and 13 people watching. And that would give you a candidness that you probably wouldn't have naturally. And people would just, because the few people on there know of my experiences, they would ask me about other entertainers or people I went through things with, and I'll be real candid with my answers.
Yes, you would. Yes, you are.
And I noticed the trend that I would wake up the next day, and I said this to 15 people, but someone else would take it, put it on their platform, and they would have thousands of views. Mm-hmm. So I was like. That became interesting to me. And then one person in particular, shout out my boy Ryan from Hip Hop Classics Daily. He's not as active as he once was at this time, but he started getting my DM. And he was like, bro, he covered hip hop in general. He covered everything. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm just noticing that when I put out content on you, it gets a good rhythm. Ooh, you might be on to something. You might need this. So I just started doing it on the regular, straight on my phone. In my studio, I used to play my music live on the big speakers and just talk shit. And then it started kind of catching on somewhat. And I just took a hiatus for a while. And I was like, damn, what could I do to make it really be something? And then I for a whole totally another reason, I painted all my walls black. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the thoughts come, throw the lights up, and I just started calling it the black box. But I still was just going live. I was just going live. And then it just started being what you would consider it to look like. I just made it look like something, and I just be going live though. I don't got no podcast. I want a podcast. On Crip, I want a podcast, but I just be going live, talking shit. I was used to be just answering questions. Then I found myself being slightly too careless, just answering questions out the chat room off the cuff. So I decided to start appealing to the people that were on a regular basis. Instead of giving me your questions here, DM me the questions. Mm-hmm. So I would come prepared with questions to answer, and that way I could be a little more tactful about the direction of the conversation versus allowing any weirdo just to catch me off guard and
type in something.
Yeah, and I just answer off the cuff, and now I'm so I was just trying to be a little more responsible with what I was expressing, and then it's a real organic effort. I'm enjoying it. The Black Box, Spotted Up Most Easty is the name of the channel on YouTube.
Wake and Bake.
The Wake and Bake Show is the way I started doing it in the morning, and all that was as much as it seems as if it's something we established and branded, all that was just freestyle talking, being repetitive, just trying to make sure we knew what we doing here. It wasn't we established it the way how I see you guys put together. What you're doing independently, I could tell is you're following a very sophisticated business format. You guys not just out here bump your head off the wall. No matter how long you've done that, you guys know what you're doing. Yeah, my shit did not develop like that, bro.
Nah, man. Yeah. I consider yours like the hood. I gotta
That's
disagree.
What it is.
The hood CNN, man, because you got.
I'll take that.
You got the ticker. You got. You came up with the frame. I'm gonna say you came up with it. Keep it Google.
Keep it a Google. I came up with that on my mama. That's like Easty. I'm very familiar with people keep it 100, they keep it 1,000, they keep it a buck, they keep it a milli. That's just me trying to take it to a level beyond all that, and I just happen to notice throughout living that. The word Google was associated.
Snakewood and that Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
was point blank, through no subliminal dissing. When I listen, I could tell you never been on no mission. Sticking to the script, don't care if I offend you. Neighborhood crib, the marathon
I overlook my competition, never seeing them. I done trained my mind that I'm going. You could tell by how I walk, talk, I'm a boss. A east side millionaire, homie, what you thought? My life is a movie. They can't get close to me. They mad cause they can't be. I'm everything that they wanna be. Yeah.